BBC studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. Friday special is finally here. Like probably somebody excited would say, the D-Day is here. Nothing special, but just a Friday. Well, good morning and thank you for being with us this early and also to be able to conclude with us the week. Well, I must say that it has been a long one. It has been a crazy one. We've had our ups and downs, but you know what? We survived, and I think you just need a pat on your back. You need to give yourself a pat on the back. And again, maybe give yourself a hand clap because it's not easy. There are very many people we probably started off the week with on a Monday, and unlucky for them, they have not been able to make it to Friday. You who is alive, you're kicking, you're happy, you're healthy. I mean, you have a reason to be very grateful. But even us here as the Good Morning Uganda community, we are always grateful and happy that you sit through the week with us all the way. And today being a Friday, of course, you know that it's a little bit toned down. It's not as busy as Monday. It's not as busy as Tuesday, but it's still on the same theme of informing you, exciting you, entertaining you, and you're just having a good time between us and you. And you know that you can always be part of the conversations. My name is Philomena, Mastiko, and I do have the entire panel with me right here. And I really want to know the plan that they actually have, especially when it comes to the weekend, because I know certainly there are those that are always advocating for church on Sundays. There are those who are always advocating for community duties every especially on a Friday, and then the table talks and the table conversation. So I know there are very many people who are always advocating for several of these things. But maybe just to start off with you, Robert. Good morning. What's the plan? What are you looking at by the end of today?
A lovely morning to you, the entire team, and of course our viewers. It's a Friday, and we thank God who has brought us safe thy far. You know, most of the times life seems very automatic because you wake up alive. But today morning, I got something to learn to appreciate more. I met a drunkard along my way. Okay. As I was coming to work, he was driving Toyota Hilux, a double cabin UBJ 801N. This guy was drunk. Very drunk, around 5, but the animal was very drunk, scattering. I was like, but look, how many people may lose their life because of this? So, and when I remember that last month, according to police, we lost 230 people in road accidents. That was a very big number. So this brought me to appreciate the Lord more. That's not only about falling sick, even someone's mistake can take your life. But it's a Friday, like you said, and I'm very happy. Why? For my two friends in the Uganda Police Force who are promoted. Yes. And they were both promoted to the 4th highest rank in police. That is Fred Enanga, who is now Senior Commissioner. That's the spokesperson of police. Yes. We also have my very good friend, Lawrence Niwabine, who is now also a Senior Commissioner. And that is a big rank because police, you have IGP, Deputy IGP, Assistant IGP. Yes. Then you have also the senior commissioners there, they come in, commissioners. So I'm happy for them. I hope they use these promotions to better services in Uganda Police.
And I mean, they have been doing quite a tremendous job. It's not very easy, by the way, even if you're fully qualified for all these positions. It's not something that you can easily pull off. But well, congratulations. And I must say it's going to be a very beautiful weekend for them and quite an exciting one because they do have a lot to look out for anyway as they plan to start.
Though for the ladies in these promotions, the minister, Philix, explained very well that they don't promote someone because you're simply a woman. They look at how long you've spent in the force and what, because some have been complaining that where are the ladies?
Well, yes,
where are the ladies in these promotions? But the minister explained it very well, that you're not going to promote people simply because they are women.
You have to show the cause for your promotion. Well, Felix, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm awesome. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Are you getting promoted anywhere this week?
Well, absolutely. I get promotions. What a question.
We're talking about promotions. People are being promoted left and right.
Yeah, I'm looking up at some sort of promotion very soon, I guess. But I know for a fact that God did promote my life today morning, at least I'm awake.
Very valid.
As we were saying much earlier, and Robert did re-echo the same. Good morning to all of you, beautiful viewers out there. It is Friday. It is indeed Friday, the day that we've been waiting for the party animals, people who want to take a bit of break from the normal drills.
Yes.
Friday comes with lots of joys and lots of, I don't know, what's the opposite of blues? When you say the blues, what's reds? No way.
It could be reds.
It can't be reds. It can't be reds. It must be something that a little bit light and that probably yellows or something. I don't know. So we need to find out what Friday does come with. But of course, today is Friday. Now, many activities are happening today, as you'll be getting much later in our programming. Mollen will be telling us about what's hitting the cinemas and all that.
True.
I can't wait for that particular. I can't wait for that particular segment.
I think I know the favorite segment that Felix is waiting for.
Well, which would that be?
I know my people. I know my people.
That's what we're playing for church.
Mollen, good morning. What do you have for us today?
Yes, a very good morning to you, Philomena, and the team. And of course, I want to say a very good morning to you, our family. It's a Friday. I'll tell you what. One thing that Friday comes with, and one you can count on every morning if you get your Friday with us, entertainment. That's the one thing that will bring in on a very special.
And I'm glad you're standing close to the man who was
exactly
waiting for that bit.
I am well connected, my dear. So Felix, just relax.
Mr.
It's a good day.
What did Robert say? Mr. what? Mr.
At this point, but you know, Robert actually is just getting out of this whole arena. He's the one who is looking forward to the weekend. Of course, he goes to places all in the name of journalistic purposes. But this man does enjoy his weekend.
I tell you.
We'll also be sporting for you where you can go for the weekend. And of course, that comes with also which books to read. And obviously get you some of those updates that will usher into the week. And I think, Philomena, we will also be talking about something that I know Ugandans are very interested in knowing. When we talk about musicians here and everyone in the entertainment industry, there's a lot that you need to uncover right now. There's a lot of turmoil going on, yes.
Turmoil?
Yes. Should they be dressed this kind of way?
Yes.
Should they not? Should UCC ban events? Should they not?
Several artists have come out to actually they have become very vocal about this ban. It didn't sit well with them. And much later on, we'll be sharing with you who said what, why they said what they said, and what they think the ideal solution would have been.
Where does that leave us?
Yes.
As the people who don't seem to have a voice in this, because it's government versus the artist. And how about us who actually need the artist?
Final consumers of the music.
Have they considered our views on this? I think that is one thing that we'll need to dive into.
When Mollen says, where does that leave us, you're talking about our diggers.
I'm glad you share the same. I'm glad you share the same.
The big boys,
the big girls.
That was ancient. These days, just the big spenders, the people who know how to enjoy life and live life.
The chairman of that club is speaking.
The journalistic man.
From the journalistic point of view.
You guys.
Well, there is a lot happening. Let me tell you something. There is a lot we could reveal, but you know, we cannot do that for now. Maybe as Good Morning Uganda Friday special goes on, we'll be sharing teats by teats and by bits as well. Well, for now, we get into some of the stories. What happened on the local scene this whole week? I must say that news has been on the rage, especially here in the country, but also outside Uganda. There is a lot that has been happening, I must say. And for us, we are here to make sure that you get to know some of these stories, just in case you're too busy and they passed by you. Starting off with the stories right here at home.
And we'll begin with the head of the Catholic Church in Uganda visiting Mastiko, His Excellency at State House, where the Archbishop of Kampala Diocese, His Grace Paul Simo Gerere, highly commended President Yoweri Museveni for his good leadership and support to the Catholic Church in Uganda and Kampala Archdiocese in particular. The Archbishop made the remarks when he paid a courtesy call on the President at State House in Entebbe. The Archbishop cited the support President Museveni provided in the refurbishment of Namugongo Martyrs Shrine and asked for his continued support to its completion. On the care for the elderly at Bakateyamba in Nalukolongo in Kampala, President Museveni advised the cleric to set up an endowment that will generate funds for their support. The Archbishop was accompanied by members of the Catholic Church and also the Pope's representative to Uganda, among others.
Stories. The Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, Dr. Samuel Stephen Kazimba Mugalu, has urged Ugandans not to be divided due to political differences, but to have common goals serving the people of Uganda and developing the country. The Archbishop, Dr. Kazimba, communicated this in a presser as Kampala Diocese awaits to celebrate its Golden Jubilee. Now, 21st of August 2022 at All Saints Cathedral, Nakasero. Kazimba highlighted on some of the notable achievements since the commencement of Kampala Diocese.
And now regarding issues of promotions, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, promoted 776 senior police officers at different ranks. Minister for Internal Affairs, General Kahinda Otafire, presented names of those promoted officers on behalf of the President. He urged promoted officers to adopt modern mode of curbing crime in the country.
Now, the Uganda National Meteorological Authority warned early this week that this month is likely to be characterized by enhanced heavy rainfalls. In their weather outlook for August and review of rainfall performance of June and July, the authority indicated that the particular areas of the country will be receiving slightly normal and more rainfall than the rest. Now, a climate change takes center stage, and the fluctuation of floods, production and availability due to climate change impacts can only be mitigated if the smallholder farmers' productions are deliberately enhanced.
Well, moving on to some of the international stories, and indeed, like I said, a lot is happening. When we start off with what is happening in China, the country has fired missiles near Taiwan as part of huge military drills following a visit by senior U.S. politician Nancy Pelosi to the island. Taiwan said China launched 11 ballistic missiles into waters around Taiwan's northeast and southwest coasts. Japan said 5 Chinese missiles landed in its waters as well, calling for an immediate stop to the exercises. China saw the visit by the U.S. House Speaker, Mrs. Pelosi, as a challenge to its claims of sovereignty over Taiwan. It sees Taiwan as a breakaway province that will eventually be brought under its control by force, if necessary. The U.S., for its part, does not officially recognize Taiwan, which has for all practical purposes been independent since 1950. However, Washington maintains a strong relationship with the island, which includes selling weapons for Taiwan to defend itself. The exercises focus on key training sessions, including joint blockade, sea target assault, strike on ground targets, airspace control operation, the Chinese military's Eastern Theater Command said in a statement. Now, when it comes to health, U.S. public health officials have declared the spread of the monkeypox disease a public health emergency. The declaration will free up additional government resources to help contain the spread of the virus. As of August 3rd, more than 6,600 cases of the disease had been confirmed in the U.S., according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. We are prepared to take our response to the next level in addressing this virus, and we urge every American to take monkeypox seriously, Secretary of Health and Human Services Xavier Becerra said at a briefing on Thursday. The disease can result in symptoms such as fever, headache, aches, chills, and rashes that can be itchy and painful, but is rarely fatal. There have been no reported deaths in the United States.
In South Africa, mob attacks illegal miners after rapes shook South Africa. Now, thousands of angry residents in the South African city of Rugadop attacked a group of illegal miners with machetes, golf clubs and hammers after a gang rape last week shocked the nation. The mob set fire to their camps in Rugadop's Kagiso township on Thursday and barricaded roads with rocks and burning tires during a protest against the miners' presence, whom they blame for high levels of crime in the area. Some were stripped of their clothes and wiped by residents, while others were chased out of their camps and beaten before being handed over to the authorities. Police kept a distance and fired stun grenades from a helicopter to disperse the crowds. We want support from the police because illegal miners are terrorizing us. We can't simply walk around the neighborhood at night because they rape us, said Nanala Feltasi, who took part in the protest. 8 models were raped on July 28th when a television crew filming a music video at the mine dump in the nearby township of West Village was attacked by heavily armed men. And in a weather and climate news, Africa climate diplomats reject African Union's pro-gas stance for COP27. Now, African climate negotiators have quashed the proposal by the African Union to promote gas as a bridge fuel for the continent at the UN talks. For the Executive Council of the African Union, they had proposed that African nations adopt a common position at the COP27 Climate Summit on Africa's energy development. It's called on nations to contribute to deploy all forms of its abundant energy resources, including renewable and non-renewable energy, to address the energy demand. This would involve financing for gas, green and low-carbon hydrogen, and nuclear energy to play a crucial role in expanding modern energy access in short to medium term. African Union officials presented the proposal to the African group of negotiators during a 3-day meeting in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, which ended on Thursday. Now, they hoped climate negotiators will adopt it as the group's position at the next UN Climate Summit in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt in November. But climate diplomats urged a pro-gas stance was too controversial and would distract from priorities like adaptation and climate finance. Sources close to the discussion told Climate Home News that included representatives of Egyptian presidency of COP27. Now, while negotiators ultimately defer to political masters, it would now take an extraordinary intervention from African heads of states before COP27 to force the position. Well, the AGN and the COP27 presidents declined to comment on these discussions.
Every single time I see acts of rape and women trying to protest and call for action, especially when it comes to these acts that are against them, it just makes me wonder and question what kind of humans we have, or if we still have any humanity left in us. Because you would wonder why somebody would actually want to rape another person. It's just very questionable. I mean, what is going on in your mind,
Well, there's a lot of evil. Even in times of God, remember there was quite a lot of evil.
Yes.
But bad people are just bad people. They never need reason to do anything because they're actually bad people.
True.
And that's the dilemma that we live with as being human beings. You do notice that there's a little bit of a lot of mental illnesses with lately, if you notice. Everyone is struggling with some sort of illness mentally, and this could be stretching far from things like trauma, depression, stress, anxiety, and all these things inform the pattern of crime in every society. So as you look at all that, you look at things like drug abuse, so there's quite lots of contributions to such criminalities, but rape is quite extreme, I must say.
And if you look at the way they did it, this was intentional because according to them, they are trying to protest the fact that these minors are illegal over there. And for me, I think this is some kind of intentional rape. So they go there knowing exactly what they are going to do, not under influence of anything. They just have a lot of hate that they would go to that hate. Because now they feel like these people are living there illegally, and the hatred has moved them into doing such acts. And that's when you wonder, you're all Africans, and if these people are even there, why wouldn't authorities take them on instead of, you know, residents having to go to such extremes and having more protests, even to reach that extent? Like now the models who were just innocently shooting the video. Yes, that is something that South Africa has actually had all those controversial things when it comes to fighting their fellow Africans, and it's just sad coming in from there.
Well, for me, I would say it's not only in South Africa where people are raped. I don't want to just position this. When you go to our crime records in Uganda, they will tell you that one of the leading cases is defilement and rape. So what does this mean? That every day the world has moved away. I want to go a bit spiritual. The world has moved away from two things: spiritualness and morals. That today we are no longer doing all it takes. You know, people were, for example, children. Yes. It was a must when we were growing up. Kids had to go to Sunday school. We had this confirmation in all faith. You know, today there are many people where their faith they have to have studied those confirmation letters, you know, and they don't. We are giving little to God, yet giving more to the world. Well, that's why you're seeing we're welcoming funny things, you know, rights. So that, and we are going to reap. The more we go away from God, the more we go away from our tradition, from our cultures, from our moral fabric, these crimes are going to increase, I want to tell you. That's why you find people now walking half naked. People, a lot of things are happening. So we need to go back.
Back in the day, actually, the religion was doing quite a lot when it came to grounding us and also disciplining us. But when you look at these times, let me tell you, Robert, some of our religious leaders as well, they're not really exemplary at one point. They're getting mixed up by very many other things. So there is a confusion.
The Bible says you have to take the word, not the person preaching the word. So you cannot base on the action of the preacher. You have to listen to the word.
What are we going to do?
I think you have to interpret it yourself. Otherwise, at this rate, the rate at which we have fake pastors and fake preachers, I am telling you, if you go by the actions of who is preaching the word, you'll get
Let me just ask a question.
It's up to you to take it.
How can you have the wrong person preaching the right thing? People tell me that I don't ever get it. I take the message, leave the person. How do you have the wrong person preaching the right thing?
Ideally, you're supposed to be exemplary.
That's the thing.
In all fields.
It's a full package.
Although it's not the reality, though.
That's the thing.
It's not the reality in this country.
That's really sad.
Do what I say, don't do what I do.
Again, you just can't have the right person preaching the wrong thing.
Message, you're coming with the right message.
That's not possible.
It is possible.
No, and the Bible is quite clear about that you're either hot or cold. You can't be lukewarm. And that's the thing. And that's why the Bible goes ahead to say we can only know them by their fruits. That's the thing. So and this whole thing of saying unangom sumban or your pusmani father, how do you even say that?
Well, good morning, Uganda Friday special. This conversation, we need to have it explicitly. I don't know when, whether behind camera or off camera, but we'll have this conversation. Well, we're going in for a break. When we get back, we'll be talking more about, the dressing of our artists, the government stake, and what also other, artists in the industry think, especially when it comes to the ban that was imposed on them not to go back to schools and the name of performing, okay? And schools have been asked to look at other types or other options when it comes to extra curricular activities. Good morning, Uganda Friday special is still going on.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
If I'm looking at issues of taxation and all that,
I will definitely run for the Kateshumbas. Okay?
Okay.
If I look at, if I'm looking at issues of investments and what, I would definitely run. I would definitely run for Dr. Emure Kugonza and Honorable Omara. Okay. If I'm looking at issues of the law, I will run for our very, very own people. I have the Oboso Bosses, I have the Katuntus, I have the Robin Arwakojos. So everyone is talented in one way or another.
Did you mention Katuntu?
Okay? Yes.
Is he yours?
Yes, he is.
Yours as in NRM?
He is.
Was brought to you by
Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN cupboard super easy.
The Corporate Games Season 2022-2023 is here. Don't miss lots of fun and networking. 12 sports disciplines and over 2,000 participants with over 40 corporate companies in one place. This happens every first Sunday of every month. For more information, contact info@corporategamesug.com or visit our website www.corporategamesug.com, or you can call us on 0700-339-048 or 0785-642-953. Don't miss on Sunday, 7th August of 2022 at Chambogo University. The Corporate Games, inspiring corporates through sports.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
One-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
A weekly face-to-face conversation focusing on accountability, inspiration, information, and sensitization of the public from the various sources such as inspirational profiles.
Having a disability is not inability.
Professional guidance.
There is no special antiretroviral therapy that is given specifically for discordant couples.
And of course, politics.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servant.
We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place.
Is it true that you paid 5 million shillings to MPs that voted for Anita Monga and Tayebo?
That is laughable. Why would we pay when we have nominated them as SEC?
Every party has been represented in Uganda's parliament for 10 years. We only by one MP. You yourself and my daughter, Susan.
Every Friday 9 p.m. it's one-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa on UBC TV, inspiring Uganda.
The Tales of Kasozi, brought to you by Uganda Communications Commission.
Hello?
Hello?
This is Kasozi. How can I help you?
Hey, Kasozi, my brother. Long time. We last met when we were at campus. It's been a while, but you are the person I'm looking for.
Campus? Really?
Hey, you don't remember me?
Okay, so how can I help you?
I'm stuck in Gulu making millions, and I need to urgently send money to my sick mother. But I can't find any mobile money agent near me. I've sent the money to your phone, as you can see the message. It might take a few minutes to come through, but I urgently need you to send the money to my mother. Let me send you her number, and you send it to her chap.
My friend, I'm afraid your mom is going to die.
What?
Because I don't know you, I never went to campus, and I'm also in Gulu. So can we meet at CPS, we talk about it?
Stay tuned for what Kasozi does next.
Tofera, refrain from unnecessary engagements with strangers over the phone. This message is powered by the Uganda Communications Commission.
We bring you a fresh, well-researched program to help you identify opportunities for investment, job creation, growing your entrepreneurial skills, wealth creation, and social transformation.
We have a product that is ready for schools, supermarkets.
Create wealth, transform livelihoods. Every week, we showcase opportunities for creating new products and services.
I now harvest a lot of cocoa. When I harvest it, I sell. After selling, I put money in my project. I have 2 projects. 1 is for construction of my house, 2 is for educating my children.
Excellence in innovation, the passion and drive to succeed, and the right mindset to grow your business. Create wealth, transform livelihoods. Brought to you by Operation Wealth Creation.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift, buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. Friday special is definitely here, and we are here to talk about what's been happening over the week. It must have been a crazy week for you guys, right? Because mine, I'm telling you, speed. There was a lot happening, you know, when it comes to the economic field, when it comes to the political field, when it comes to the social field. My oh my, I cannot even begin. But there is one thing though that has been on almost every Ugandan lip, and when it comes of course to entertainment and our social life, there is quite a lot of opinions that people would love to share, and they're very vocal about them because you know, our people, our Ugandans, when it comes to their social life, it's quite something they treasure so much. But this weekend, we did see government through the Ministry of Education coming out to ban all these artists who go on to perform in schools. Now, their reason is mainly because of the indecent dressing. Now, they believe that this is one of the highest contributing factors to immorality, especially amongst our children, the youth, and all, you know, people in that category. They believe that they're setting a wrong example for these. But away from that, this did not really sit well with quite a number of artists. They came out, some of them have come out to, you know, be vocal about what they think could have been the solution. Now, some of them believe that government really took such an extreme measure. I'll give you an example. There is one artist who said, listen, we know the point here, and it's quite a valid one. But also, we think this is an extreme measure because not every artist, like you generalize the whole industry, you know, saying that the artists, we all get immoral when we go to these schools, we dress indecently, but that is not true. There could be a few people who do that, there could be a few musicians who do that, but not everyone does that. And at this point, maybe the right thing for you could have been for you to pick out these few people and talk to them, these artists, I don't know, give them warnings, give them, I don't know, fines or whatever, but you cannot generalize because some of us actually do use our music to go and encourage these children in schools. So what you're doing right now does not really work out. You're covering 100% when ideally you're supposed to be covering, let's say, maybe about 10%. Now, I really want to know where you stand, especially when it comes to this ban generally, even before we get into what some of these artists were saying. And maybe to start off with you, Felix, do you think the measure that the Ministry of Education took was actually the right solution to the problem at hand?
Well, the ministry, as the custodian of basically education in the country, does have a right, and it's clearly in order to be able to oversee and assist, direct the institutions that are quite also related to it. Now, in the issue of immorals, I think we need to define that word, Philo, and try to understand what does in which context, because immorality in schools is quite, you don't just sum it up to Mollen dressing badly or Philo coming badly. I have seen many schools, even for VDs, they put in the yardsticks.
Yes.
You've seen some of those. They have placards like someone shouldn't dress like this and like this. Yeah, yeah.
Even
so actually, many of them are stopped. Yeah, many of the parents. So it's not a new thing. Actually, it didn't even need the ministry to come out. Probably that's just in Uganda we say they were just looking for butara, you know, to make news because all schools have these.
Yes.
But we must define immorality fully, not segregatively or subjectively. We must accept to define immorality. What is, when someone says that is immoral, what do they mean?
Yes.
Okay, now, what are morals? I think if you want to discuss morality, you don't discuss it in the obscure context. You must discuss it in an entire approach. One, when you look at immorality per se, if you want to, you're looking at acceptable behavior in a particular society. And I put the word particular to this discussion because it is relative. The acceptable behavior in Uganda may not be the same in Sudan or somewhere, let's say in Lesotho or in the UK or America or whatever. It's quite different. Morals differ. And even to that effect, morals differ. they could generally not be general. There are some morals that are quite also indifferent. That what's acceptable, let's say at a school X, may not be acceptable at a school Z, for example.
Yes.
Now, when ministry comes out generally to say that you're banning musicians because of dress code, you must do an assessment. One, is it the worst that is happening in schools? Last week, there's a report that came out. I saw that in the papers, and they were saying that I think 40% of pupils are having romantic relationships. Now,
with fellow pupils?
Absolutely,
yes.
Absolutely. In these primary schools, we're having people who are already relating at stage of, I don't know if it's middle, top, P1, P3, P4, P5, P6,
yes,
to P7. They're already having relationships.
Yes.
Now, at that point, the question should be, are we still having discussion about morality again? When we start picking out pieces and bits of immoralities and not addressing the generic problem,
yes,
we may miss the point. You're going to say the Philos of this world, the Mollens, the Kirabos who are musicians, get out of schools. Again, what are we solving?
Yes.
Okay, if what they don't see from these people who come on stage, do they see it elsewhere? Let's talk about the access of gadgets of students in school. Let me tell you, myself, I've been doing this thing of teaching or lecturing for about 5 years now. But the information students have, we don't even have a quarter of it. And you know why they get this? Is exposure.
Yes.
You may think what the kids are seeing is new to them. It is simply their way of life. They see worse than that. And that's why, if you've seen who is complaining, are they the students?
No.
They're happy. I remember the time when Winnie Nwaja, I think, went to SMAC, was it Chisubi? You should have seen those boys. They were just over the moon.
They were happy.
So people are complaining on their behalf, but they're not actually assisting them, because they're not going to see from their real faces, they are getting anywhere else.
Yes.
If you want to discuss issues of dress code, let's have a general discussion. Not just for schools, because if I don't see Philo performing at my school, I'm going to see her YouTube performance.
And now the children, access phones.
That's what I'm saying. The level of
gadgets.
exposure is actually worrying for me. It's the biggest challenge.
Well, maybe to hear from you, Mollen, what do you think about this? Before we get into it, do you think the ministry really did take the right decision in that direction, banning artists, saying that, no, you are such a big contributing factor to all that we are seeing in schools, especially after the incident we saw in that bus that was making rounds and, students...
What was happening in the bus?
Well...
I missed that. What was happening?
So there were these students who are supposedly going for a study trip, and what I think they had parked somewhere, was it, or was the bus in motion? They had parked. Yeah, I think it was in traffic jam. And then these kids were in there dancing.
What?
They were dancing, but you know, in quite an indecent manner. And this really, it sparked off very many people, because there was one person who actually captured the whole incident. And you know, this video made rounds. It went to a lot of parents who were very bitter. You know, the schools were even being forced to be held, rather they were held accountable. Because again, there were also stories of how one school had hired this bus to take their students. So there was a lot of ruckus there.
Simply known as the Ruviri incident, which is still making rounds. But I'll tell you what, Philomena, when we are on this topic, I want us to remember one thing. Ministry of Education and Sports is a custodian of making sure that children, while they're in school, they maintain values and behavior. So whatever plan they make right now, I think they are in the right place to make that decision. If they have temporarily put a ban on having concerts in schools, I think it's the right move to do, because at this point it was getting out of hand. And I did listen to the acting permanent secretary of Ministry of Education. He was saying that this is a temporary ban until they come out with guidelines on how to allow co-curricular activities in schools, or even allow entertainment in schools, how that should be done. But they also went ahead to say that if any school management is caught having some of these private, concerts, they will be held responsible. Ministry is taking it serious. But at this point, I think they're trying to make it clear that, guess what, you are devaluing the morals that we have promoted in schools, and we will not allow that happen, and I concur with them. However, I think there is need to also revise some of these decisions that usually come up just all of a sudden, because it's just particular individuals. And when we talk about artists in a whole, their indecent dressing cannot be the only factor that we are considering to ban concerts in schools. Because guess what? These are individuals. I'll tell you one thing. Celebrities in general, talk about celebrities in general, they always take the issue of being trendsetters. So an artist will come up to wear something because they know it will attract attention, and they intentionally do some of these things just to get the attention, to get the media on it, just like we're talking about them now. And it's just never that easy to tell them, you know what, you're now going to have to dress this way, because that way you're taking away their brand. And people like Shibas of this world, the Winnie Nwaji, they are used to that kind of branding, that you telling them to stop wearing in a certain way, you're just taking away their brand. That's what they're used to. That's what their fans, that's what their fans are used to. Imagine if you had Shiba coming up with just some long dress.
Their fans love.
Exactly. So you wouldn't make it to a concert if she dressed that way. And I think now they have gotten this whole idea in their mind that that's the brand, that's what people like. They're going to continue with that. However, we also have to remember that we have just taken a wrong turn, because I'll tell you, I know some of the names of artists that actually go on stage well dressed and they still have a fan base. I'll give you an example of Rema. Rema doesn't necessarily have to dress indecently, but she has a huge fan base and people love her for that. You have not seen her go around being half naked or with all these slits. And she has a fan base, that is for sure.
I know that Robert begs to differ. I know what Robert begs to differ. Yes.
Recently, Ugandan artists got ashamed that female flock when her tour survey. This lady comes, she's dressed decent enough. She's the star.
What do you mean?
You are curtain raisers. And I was like, so you don't have to be naked. You have to be half naked.
I think they expected
so when she says
her
the musicians that will cover their body but still attract.
You don't know what was coming your way.
No, them saying Tiwa Savage, I think the idea in the Ugandan artist minds, they were like, okay, this is Tiwa Savage, she's international, she's definitely coming on, well dressed and in all this kind of way. So they had to measure up. But I'll tell you one thing, that didn't work, because she came in really well dressed. And we have seen artists that actually have made it without, having to indecently dress. So I think what we need to do, like at this moment, is just establish how we can, and I think this is a wake-up call from ministry. If they are telling you they're going to temporarily ban something that you benefit from, I think they should also be able to listen to what ministry is saying and abide by this. But also, we all have to remember that taking music completely out of school is a dangerous move. I'll tell you one thing, because we do know that music is still, music and performing arts, I'll say that, because when you're talking about concerts, you're not only meaning the singing art, the performing artists, you also look at the DJs, you look at the MCs. An MC will also come to school dressed in a certain way, and that's still in performing arts. But this is a whole industry that you're talking about. So having that kind of ban will have to take an effect. We don't want to go to a place where during lockdown musicians were complaining and performing arts that, you know, the government had forgotten about them and they were having a hard time and they had to go through all that asking for help. We don't want to go there again. So I think there should be a guideline as to who is banned from the school, or even as they move forward. This cannot be a solution to what is there right now, because you're taking the whole industry out of the picture and this will not work. I do think that there is need to revise these guidelines. However, it's a wake-up call. Now, if you are a performing artist and you know you need this job, you need to continue with your career, you have to find a way of making your brand shine out without necessarily being indecent or necessarily abusing your own character. And I think that's the way we can move forward.
Well, also still, while we're still on the topic of dressing, also yesterday, I think was it yesterday or just 2 days ago, I think it could have been yesterday, we saw one of the artists who was headed to the Ministry of Internal Affairs. And again, she was asked to leave because of the way she was dressed. And I really still want to know, now, do you think that this could be a personal, and maybe Robert, will start with you, could be a personal decision, or sometimes it comes within you as a person knowing that, okay, this is where I'm headed to, probably I need to dress like this, probably was that reason enough for them to ask her to leave the premises so that she can go and probably dress up appropriately and come to be, you know, to get the services that they render? Do you think it was a valid reason for them to do that?
First, I pray for the Spirit of God to be upon me as I'm discussing this.
All right, amen.
Why have I said so? Because I'm very disappointed. I don't want to use some words that may not be professional.
First, I hope it's not none of us here.
First and foremost, for everything you must have purpose. Why? I'm asking myself, what is the purpose? Why artists should come to schools and perform concerts? You know? Because if you are taking it under co-curricular activities, let me give you an example. Artists usually go to perform in schools for a particular cause. For example, when you had HIV/AIDS, the likes of Philomena went to schools. They were carrying a message to show that I'm positive, this is how I'm looking, encouraging and talking about stay faithful.
In school?
Yes. They visited Gayaza High School, a number of schools.
Stay faithful?
Abstain. 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 That was the message. Thanks for that correction, brother. Abstain. That was the message they were taking. So, today, when we have the likes of Shiba, when Nuwaji going to SMARC and them going to these schools, what purpose? Why are they going there? Because we might say that, you see, these people are going to become artists. I want to take you back. People who read history of this country, who are very observant of what is happening. There's a school called Namasagali College. Namasagali College one time had a headmaster. He was a white man. And in the early 90s, all radio stations, all these good musicians were coming from Namasagali. Namasagali College. Talk about the Julianas, the late DJ Ronnie. The list is endless. It was all OBs and OBs of Namasagali College. But he looked at the entertainment industry, and I remember UTV by then had plays of Namasagali at National Theatre everywhere. But this was not because of artists. So we are terming this as co-curricular activities, and I like the circular. Paragraph 2 of the circular reads, extracurricular activities in schools normally means sports, games, debate clubs, etc. If a school needs to entertain themselves, then they can engage in acting plays or arrange concerts within them. However, inviting singers who dance erotic dances naked in the school is a disguise of extracurricular activities and must be forbidden henceforth. Erotic dances, dressed naked.
Really incident.
What is bringing them? Yes, people may argue. I know, I hear of this argument. These kids already know. But you see,
Erotic
two wrongs do not make one right.
Yes.
Two wrongs, we are not going to see a problem and saying, you see, but this kid has been taking too much soda, even poison is okay. You know, whatever, at what level we can curb this, let's do that. Let's not make these kids feel it is normal. We've had holiday bashes and these young kids have gone there, drink. So we should tell them that there are certain things you'll get to at a certain age. You're in primary, you're in secondary. There is going to come a time when even when you see a naked woman, you know, half naked woman, it is okay because you're above 18. Your brain can analyze, can make right decisions. But imagine a young boy, maybe of 15 years, seated as low as we are, then up, maybe their main hole or what, he's able to see panties of a mature woman dancing and splashing her thighs there. Felix can handle that at night, you know, because he could have seen a number, so he can handle, because he's mature enough, you know. But a 15-year-old, this is like, by the way, we are psychologically torturing these young boys. Even their performance in school, because he's going to spend a whole week doing what? Thinking of getting pictures, all this drawing, excitement. You know, for NKUNDA it is okay, you know, because it's mature enough. So psychological torture. Then what precedent are we setting? What do we want to tell them? You know, what lessons are they learning? When you hear a statement finally, someone is told, and replies like, "Stop blaming me for your child's moral degeneration. Why do you want me to raise your children? Sit down with your children and counsel them. Tell them that even if they love that name, they should not dress like that name. Raise your children the way you want them to be." But you're a public figure.
That's the best reply.
You're a public figure. Whatever you do has an impact, and you might be, and you must be mindful of that. You're just going to be arrogant, because there are things you do when you get to some level, and they matter a lot. So to me, I think two wrongs do not make one right. I want to commend the ministry. There is no reason whatsoever artists can make money in other avenues. They have introductions, they have concerts, they have but not make money in school.
You know, somebody when you talked about schools, somebody said, and I think they were really trying to, you know, justify what the ministry said. They're like, okay, you see, these are our talented artists. How come that when they're going for these traditional functions, that they know that they need to dress like this and they're decent, and then when they have to go to schools, it becomes a
even when the president invites them at State House.
Yes, they dress differently. That was an argument again that was being fronted. But now that we have seen why and how, we also need to know, maybe, do you think there was a better way to handle this? Because what about the sect of other artists who are actually do quite some decent performances and they dress decently? What happens to those?
Philo, let me tell you something. I think what the ministry did is very selfish of them. And I'll tell you why. One, they have failed to deal with issues of immorality. And I've told you clearly, what they don't see, what you think you're stopping them from seeing, they're going to see anywhere else.
Yes.
On the streets of this city. Secondly, in my opinion, all these things, I feel like they're attacks against women. I have been keen to notice, and if you remember, post-COVID, most, I don't know, post-COVID, we're still in post, but just immediately after we get out of lockdown, the reports of women, girls, schoolgirls who are raped, who are not able to go back, who are pregnant, the ministry didn't, the only decision they came out to say, let them study, what could they have done much? You see that kind of mentality? What could they have done much?
Yes.
Kati Bino, why are they thinking this is the problem? Is it because of Sheba or Nwaji that these girls got pregnant? You know, morality, we can't speak about morality.
It cannot be centered around dress.
I think that's the most minute of things. These students, and this is majorly for women, don't even take this lightly. These girls we must have a discussion in how to protect them as society. Let me tell you, most of these artists you see probably are victims. You see, some of the things when you see them in society, don't just look at them, they're psychological. They come from a very bad place or a good place.
Yes.
You know, let's ask a question. Why do women struggle to dress like this? Some women. No, sometimes it's more than just that. Because, for example, absolutely. Yes. Sometimes it's about self-belief. Oh, there are many things. Now, like what you saw, I saw my sister Nwaji being embarrassed, and I call that embarrassment by a fellow lady.
She chose to embarrass herself.
And I'll tell you why I think that wasn't good. An officer came and was shouting. You saw the video.
Yes.
How about you come and say, sister, I think this is, you know, this is woman to woman. When you do that, do you think you're helping? I don't know if you get the point. We have seen men in this country release pornographic videos of their girlfriends. Who talks about that? But why would someone do that? You've had a secret sexual relationship, but then when you have fights, someone goes, and you know what happens? No one talks about the guy who released the
videos.
Yes.
This is against women. And for me, I look at it as against women. I have seen men have pants up to here. Who talks about them? Most of the artists, because some of us spend lots of time with them.
Yes.
No one, that's not an issue, because it's probably a Kirabo mic, a Kirabo, a Kirabo.
Yes.
But when a woman comes in a skimpy, oh, Yahweh would day. Yahweh would day, Yahweh would day. And I think we must have a deeper discussion than just that. How do we assist these sisters? When something like that happens at a government office, we should condemn the ministry itself. First of all, the police. How do you handle such matters? Call the woman. What do you gain? Call her, tell her ABCD. I think this is a, you know. But because by the time you got her, she was already inside the ministry. How did she get inside? But secondly, if I'm to go lastly to the side of the artists, artists in Uganda must transit from issues of personal. It's not about wanting.
Yes.
Elsewhere in the world, artists, because it's talent, it's managed. You get it?
Yes.
We must accept to be their talent to be managed. That when you have a talent manager, they will help assist in such things. You get it? Like a musician like, let's say, Philo, if he's going to a ministry, a handler must be able to assist and find out how do people here dress. Because there's just like you said, if it's a Kwanjula, you don't come in a swimsuit on a Kwanjula. Like if you're going to, and all these things could be managed. Some people, by the way, are adamant, don't know these things. They don't take it for granted.
They shot to fame and that's it.
Yes,
they don't know what
honestly, and that's why I don't blame most of them. Some people don't know. I don't take it for granted. Someone will go to a school, because they tell them it's a secondary school. They think because secondary school kids are in town. So it's about one, talent management, but also not being trying to be isolative in approaching this issue of artists. Women are being victimized, for me, in my opinion, in most of these discussions.
And to pick from you, Mollen, what do you think is the ideal thing? What is the solution? What could be the long-term solution to all this?
Well, when we're talking about this topic as well, I will agree with Felix on some of the issues, because while we're talking about this, I saw a headline that was also clearly stating that Ministry of Internal Affairs disrespecting Nyonyintono. And I think that was contrary to the other headlines that were coming out of Nyonyintono stopped from accessing, Nyonyintono did this. But this particular headline, I was like, okay, there is truth to it. Because at a certain level, they disrespected her. Because if you look at even the way she was dressed, the dress was short and she's a thick person, so that was there was a lot showing. I don't want to call her.
I like what she said. She's a thick person.
And so it's hard for anyone to differentiate. But at that level, she was actually smart for Nyonyintono. I'll tell you that. Except the dress was a bit short and it's easy to notice. But there should have been a different way of handling that. this is a known figure. This is an artist. She has performed at important events.
She's Uganda's trade elsewhere.
She represents us somewhere internationally.
Yes.
For you to just be like, please go away. That was inhuman.
It says Robert believes in shouting at people.
I don't think that is the right way to handle some of these issues. So moving forward, I don't think that some of these offices, maybe this particular police officer also had a personal issues, because you cannot talk to a fellow woman like that. And this is someone that tell her, you know what, I don't think you'll be able to access the place because of the way you dress. How about you dress in a certain way, and maybe you can catch with your appointment or reschedule your appointment. That should have been the human way to put it, but chasing her around. And I think it's the same thing that did happen also with Shiba, even reacting with the words that she was saying, you know what, I'm not responsible for teaching morals to your children. It's because everyone came on social media attacking her without knowing whether even the school was bothered by her dressing that way. It's actually us who picked it up. Maybe when she came to the school, they never addressed it. They didn't say, you know what, Shiba, you can't perform to students like. They were like, oh, we're happy to see you, please go ahead. And I think it should be a responsibility of both of them, not for us to go on the media and attack Shiba. Like the administration that let her do that was not aware. They were there, they saw her start the performance. So I think on the side of government, they should also be able to, have this kind of chain that goes around, especially in management of artists, to make sure that they are able to deliver in a certain way, or even help them out to streamline some of these issues instead of us blaming people individually.
But also, just to add on what Mollen said very briefly, Philo, is that for some of these people, with due respect, I don't want to say celebrities, but people who are in the domain of people's eyes almost daily for purposes of music, sports, they need to be categorized as under VIP. Why would you have a musician just lining up and what? Because honestly, they have achieved it. Like, and like it or not, that's the bitter truth. As long as someone carries the flag of Uganda elsewhere, Nwaji has done concerts in Europe, all countries, in the UK, in America, just to mention but a few. She has a touch of contribution. So she's a public figure. You don't just...
Let us know what you think about this on our WhatsApp number 0709602592, and we'll be sharing with you your feedback, the parents, the children. We want to know from you. But before we get into that, just to hear from you, Robert, as we're trying to wind this one down, do you think Winnie's case was handled in the right way? Before you tell us what you think could be, the tangible and solid solution to all this.
Now,
because I saw you shake your head in disappointment, and you seem to be on the other side.
We've let these people make mistakes because of the praises we've put upon them. We've let them think they are superhuman beings. No doubt they have achieved, but that is why they are getting into this. First and foremost, respect is given, but you must first respect your own self.
You are sinful.
What is happening is many people are talking about a clip that they saw where the female officer is saying, get out and all that.
Yes.
But many of these musicians are not a hard nut to crack. You don't just tell them, please, you cannot access this. Many even ask, do you know who I am? Don't you know me? I've performed, I've been on international stages. So for me, what I want to say, fellow Ugandans that still have morals, sometimes when the world goes crazy, the uprights are seen to be abnormal. But we must know that whatever we are sowing today, and I'm not going to be a devil's advocate in this, whatever seed we are sowing today, if we choose to permit indecent dressing, if we choose to let these young people know that this is the right way of doing things, then we are going to reap. I call upon the Ministry of Education, uphold that decision. There are very many ventures artists have not been making big from concerts in schools. We need to protect these young minds. Let's not corrupt them with indecent dressing. Let's not corrupt them with erotic dances. You as at school, if this is done home and their parents don't care, fine, but let them come to school and know that this is an institution where this is not welcome. Today's society, we are losing order. We think things must flow anyhow. We must go back to order. When did a school become a place of concerts? for musicians to come naked and dance erotic. When did school get to that? It's when society loses order. That is why you're seeing rape on an increase, defilement on an increase, because we've lost order. We think things just have to be in play like that. We must have systems. We must have systems.
Systems.
All right, so we do have.
We shall have sanity. We can't have this.
We do have feedback that is coming in from a number of you that are actually being part of the show. And again, thank you for joining us. Now, Ogoda William, who is watching in from Tororo, he says, to me, there is a problem of general moral decay and excessive exposure. And I think this is a point you're talking about, Felix. Therefore, parents should play an active role. And I think he seems to believe that we all have, as parents as well, they have a part of a job to do when it comes to
biggest.
Thank you so much, Ogola William.
Let's not take teachers out of this picture.
Now coming in from a gentleman called Mula, who is watching in from Arua, he says banning artists from school is not the right decision, because if you take the new curriculum that is now about being creative, and you ban such entire music from school, what about the students that are really talented in that field? Who will be there to encourage and aspire these kids? So I think the ban should be in particular to certain people, not the whole industry. And it doesn't have any meaning, because all these artists have very different lifestyles, and they always keep telling people of Uganda the word not to copy them than being yourself. Thank you so much. Well, clearly this one is buying into that. But as we try to conclude this, what would be your parting shots?
For me, I think one of the things we must celebrate in this country, and we must learn to celebrate, is talent.
Yes.
We have for long deceived, you have for long deceived us. This goes to ministry, government, and whoever.
Kirabo as well.
And of course, well, Kirabo is a homeboy. But for those people who think they want to, what is kutegere in English? But they want to understand for us issues of success. You have, by the way, there's so many words I need from Chira Kutomega as well. You know, made us like you have for long given us false guidance, and this is the truth. You don't come out now and make it look like you're putting the education right.
Yes.
We have been in schools and we have had these arguments, Robert. When we still have Napoleon in our syllabus, we still have Bismarck, not Bismarck, not Bismarck, what can be someone Hitler.
Yes.
I think Canadian really is mania. If we still have those things taught to those kids you're protecting, you are the worst problem. I'm telling you, if I'm paying 2 million shillings for my son to go and study about Hitler, Adolf, and you think the problem is with Shiba, not you? In my life, I've never used Hitler as a lawyer. I've never.
Well, feedback is still coming in, and I
think the problem, honestly, is with those people, not with these people. Let's deal with the real problems. Okay. Let's put our education sector in the right place, and you can never oust talent. Talent is the good above knowledge.
Yes.
It is the only good above knowledge. Lastly, the only thing that has sustainably stayed relevant in economic hard times is talent. You can't. We must promote talent at all costs, not to break it. Don't demotivate.
Well, there is another gentleman here who is coming out to say that, immorality has always been there in schools right from primary. So maybe he's trying to say that this is just not even a second.
So deal with the real problem.
Been there all the way
Have you seen
because it has been there?
Have you seen how people have tried to justify some of the things, saying, you know, in our African culture, we are not supposed to dress like that. But I think at this point we can't even compare it to culture, because if you were to understand the African culture, they used to actually dress more indecently than the Europeans.
It as very extremely indecent.
That was so indecent.
Yes.
The Europeans actually the ones who used to dress those long dresses.
And this is where Robert would have to give us an explanation.
So,
but before that,
we can't take it to the African culture. And for me, I would say this. I'll say this as we conclude. I think at this point we have to bring in everyone. We have to bring everyone on board.
Yes.
The parents, yes, they are responsible to teach their values, but also the teachers, the administration. For me, I'll say this, being a parent, we are not in the schools where these kids are. They are the ones who are there. So if you're going to invite these artists, we're not even taken into consideration. Our decision is not taken into consideration at the time they are bringing artists. So let these teachers be responsible and invite some of these. And also someone else that should come on board should be the artists themselves. So even as we urge artists, please don't dress like this. This administration should be taking keen responsibility of making sure that whoever they are bringing to school is able to dress whatever.
Well, Emma is coming in to say that the ministry did good and it was long overdue. The music and entertainment industry needs to be regulated. It's absurd that even the Uganda Musicians Association did not come out to condemn the acts of their fellow musicians, but they instead defended them and instead blamed the parents. Thank you so much, Emma. So
that was a very nice message.
The parents are not in schools, which is why for me I'm bringing in the school administration itself, because for me I'll not be consulted that, hey, we are bringing Winnie Nwaji on the weekend for your kids. They are the administration should be blamed. They are the ones bringing these artists.
Is the headmaster.
Let me tell you.
Felix, you know what? No, I just very briefly, Felix, I'm just giving you very briefly, Robert. What would be your parting shots on this?
First, I want to urge the musicians themselves to be more conscious and know that you must dress according to where you're going to perform. Because I've even seen some come to church to minister, and the way they are dressed, you're like, Holy Spirit, come and govern us. So Felix talked about managers. If you can't manage yourself, get an expert. Professionals are there. These people go just to be able to manage you properly. And finally, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education and Sports, I want to commend you. I want to thank you for the job well done. Because wrong things are happening, that is not a justification for other wrong things to continue happening. Two wrongs do not make one right.
Thank you so much, Robert. I'll just read you the final comment. There is somebody here who says, let artists have performances with energy, but let them have humility at the forefront. And he goes on to say, most of Navio's strength is in his humility.
The who?
The artists, yes, they will give off the energetic performances, but then they need to front humility at it. And he even wanted to give an example of Navio, how his strength is actually in humility. But that right there is quite a valid point. We all need to be very humble and modest when it comes, to certain. I know you would be in agreement. No. Thank you so much for being with us in this conversation. Well, Good Morning Uganda Friday special still happens. We'll be back after this break.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
The Corporate Games Season 2022-2023 is here. Don't miss lots of fun and networking. 12 sports disciplines and over 2,000 participants with over 40 corporate companies in one place. This happens every first Sunday of every month. For more information, contact info@corporategamesug.com or visit our website www.corporategamesug.com, or you can call us on 0700-339-048 or 0785-642-953. Don't miss on Sunday, 7th August of 2022 at Chambogo University. The Corporate Games, inspiring corporates through sports.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning once again, and thank you for joining us on this press review. We start off with the Daily Monitor, looking at the big stories that you need to look out for on this Friday. Free media key to democracy, says the Chief Justice. Now, he was addressing board members, diplomats, founding directors, staff, former staff, media colleagues, advertisers, and high-ranking government officials at the Monitor at 30 Dialogue. Now, in more news in the Daily Monitor this morning, SFC top boss fired and police chiefs promoted. And coming in from the sport, rather not sports, but the entertainment pullout, that is the scoop. School leagues are the hottest thing in town. And I must tell you that that could be right, because all schools are now waking up. I think they've got to understand the value of having these leagues. Well, catch up the full story in the Daily Monitor this Friday, and quite a number of jobs that you could probably be a lucky chap and grab yourself one in the Daily Monitor this morning. But also there is a lot happening in the New Vision, and very many stories are trending. What are we looking at this morning, Mollen?
Well, in the New Vision for this morning, we get to look at what is happening, especially talking about the Green Hill kids who were being trafficked. And you have Kahinda Utafiri, Internal Affairs Minister, talking about that. And the full story is on page 3. They're saying the school said the children had been signed out by their parents. That's really disturbing right there. But also in the New Vision for this morning, they're looking at the impact of Asian expulsion on cinema. Well, that is one to look out for. But also they give you what is inside the sports. First Lady congratulates Chiplimo, and of course Museveni speaks out on DRC war, which is also on page 5 of the New Vision. But the big picture right there, they give you the flood victims receive shillings 115 million, as they give you the Minister for Presidency Millie Babalanda handing over 5 million to one of the affected people right there. But also they give you full stories on that in the New Vision for today. Now, in the series, Makere took Nsibira's life. That is a story that is on pages 36 and 37 of the New Vision. But they also give you Chinese ambassador speaks out. That story is on page 34. And the new ranks, of course, over 700 police officers have been promoted. That is a story on page 3. But they give you a picture of the spokesperson for police right there, Fred Nanga, as is one of the people who have been promoted. Get yourself a copy of the New Vision for this morning.
Pressing over to the Daily Nation, what's happening in Kenya, decision 2022, and right now we have less than 4 days, 3 days actually to be very specific, to the elections. Register behind the fight. Now, manual or digital, Raila wins big as court orders the IEBC to use printed list of voters alongside the electronic kits on election day. And Ruto claims anti-vote plan. Something you need to also take a look into. Ruto alleges a sinister plot in press briefing. Something, again, very interesting. And in the field of science, scientists revive cells in dead pigs. And banks staff on the spot as customers lose their savings. And looking at a man who also got over 100 years in jail for defiling boys in his care. Very inhumane. Another story you can catch up in the Daily Nation this morning. But away from that, also we know that there is a lot happening in the weather and climate sphere. I don't know whether it will be raining this weekend or not, depending on what you have, whether you'll need the rain or not. But again, you're just a human being. It's very hard for us to determine or, dictate the kind of weather conditions we would want. That is why we have the weather prophetess here, the meteorologists, to tell us what are we headed for this weekend, Mollen.
Well, looking at what is in store for you at least this weekend, there's still a similar trend, especially with reduced wet weather activities across the southern sector. But eastern Uganda, northern Uganda continues to have more pickup in terms of wet weather conditions. And also we have to remember that Uganda National Meteorological Authority did issue out a forecast for the rest of this month, saying that we will have more rains coming through, especially across the eastern sector and parts of northern Uganda as the country braces itself for the second major rainy season that will be starting in September. And most of the parts of the country will actually be having those early rains coming in as we end August. So that is one to look out for. But I will tell you what is happening today, and we'll be tapping in from our satellites that are giving us real-time data over the country. And it looks like we're starting off with the mostly cloudy conditions across the country, and most of the systems that will be developing even later will be mostly to the western part of the country. We also have some of that cloudy system still over the eastern part of the country. That will be bringing a little bit of rains later as the morning progresses. We also do have some of the cloudy systems that are starting to develop across southwestern Uganda, mostly towards areas of Fort Portal right now, where we're seeing a little bit of more of the rainy clouds starting to develop. That is towards areas of Fort Portal. We could be looking at rains as we continue this morning, but mostly southwestern Uganda, Mbarara, Kabale right there dealing with more of those clouds. And Kampala seems to be starting off with quite a sunny morning. We do have intervals of cloudy conditions coming through, but at least most of that will be giving us rains later as the day progresses. But for now, we can expect to start off with quite some pleasant weather with intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. And it also looks like most of northern Uganda right now, as you headed towards West Nile, we're looking at quite a sunny morning, and also much of what we have across the Karamoja region, a little bit of clouds coming through. We can look at Moroto right there, also in white colors. That is indicative of the cloudy weather that is over there, and we could also be looking at more of that going on for the rest of the morning. But what we do know is that at least most of the rains that are expected to develop for today will be coming in later as the day progresses, and we could also be following the similar trend as we head into the weekend. But that is also one to look out for. And I don't know, Philomena, when people prefer to have either rainy conditions or sunny conditions on some of the events, because there is some kind of traditional way that says if it rains on your wedding or your party, it's good luck. I don't think it's good luck. No one wants it to rain on their party. I differ from that.
I think what people prefer is not like heavy rain. They want like drizzles here and there. Yeah. That would maybe come off as a blessing. But if it's a heavy downpour, then that's a different story we have to tell. So maybe, drizzles. And if it's an outdoor event, my friend, we don't want rain. We just want sunshine. That's all we need.
And I can agree with that. If it's an outdoor event, it also helps know the forecast, because then you can prepare accordingly. If you're going to have an outdoor event, you probably need a tent or something. But I think around weather, it's just an issue of what you prefer. For me, if the forecast was indicating rains and I have an outdoor event, I'd rather put it inside to avoid the whole thing altogether, because you never know even the winds that are associated. Haven't you seen occasions where tents are blown away by wind, and people go ahead to associate it with some tradition that, if it were like a barrier, they would say maybe it's the spirits coming. It's just wind. There is no spirit right there. So I think we shouldn't be putting some of these weather conditions in a traditional relation. Sometimes it's just the weather really happening, no spirits whatsoever. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but again, this is an argument that we've always had consistent, especially Robert always says Kumbi has a traditional bit to it, a traditional touch to it. He should be able to defend himself. I wouldn't want to speak for him. But yes, and thank you for the updates. But what are we looking? Are we going to be experiencing rains or sunshines? Are we going to be, I don't know. I'm just imagining if we had scenarios where we would be expecting like snow. I don't know how we would be maneuvering through that.
I know, imagine having snow in Uganda. But you know what? Unlucky for us, that will never happen. Our closure to the apparent movement of position of the sun just doesn't make that happen. We are in the tropics, and this is the one area where you don't expect any winter. We're never going to have a snow experience.
They've experienced snow, and it's crazy. I've seen Ugandans get excited on behalf of the Kenyans.
No, it's not really snow, because I think what has happened is sometimes we have this piling hail that in a hailstorm we can have that pile up pile up and we see it as snow. It's not snow, except the only places that have had snow conditions are the peak of the mountains. And I think we do have that on the top of the Rwenzori Mountains.
Yes.
We have that snow, although recently it has been declining because of climate variations, but also on the top mountains of Kenya, we've also seen that. So that's like that saying that says the higher you go, the cooler it becomes. It's because of the altitude that they're able to get the snow.
Okay.
Otherwise, on ground, it just won't happen. No winter. We are just summer all the way.
Now that we have established the weather and climates, we'll be planning accordingly. We're going in for a very short break. When we get back, we'll be getting into the interviews that we have lined up for you, and of course we do have some entertainment news as well. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift, buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Corporate Games Season 2022-2023 is here. Don't miss lots of fun and networking. 12 sports disciplines and over 2,000 participants with over 40 corporate companies in one place. This happens every first Sunday of every month. For more information, contact info@corporategamesug.com or visit our website www.corporategamesug.com, or you can call us on 0700 339 048 or 0785 642 953. Don't miss on Sunday, 7th August of 2022 at Chambogo University. The Corporate Games, inspiring corporates through sports.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way, because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body, because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
I remember the lockdown, when the streets were empty and our lives disrupted, when businesses closed and our livelihoods hung in the balance. Hospitals were full. We lost loved ones, jobs, and hope. Our children couldn't study anymore. We cannot let this happen again. We should not go back. Get fully vaccinated against COVID-19 and join the millions of Ugandans who are already vaccinated.